The stage was set, the lights were blazing, and the audience buzzed with anticipation. It was a crisp morning in New York City, and Live with Kelly and Mark was about to go on air. The iconic talk show, known for its bubbly charm and celebrity banter, welcomed a special guest, Kelly Clarkson, the powerhouse singer and talk show host herself, there to promote her latest album. The energy in the studio was electric, until it wasn't. What happened next would become a moment etched in television history, a clash no one saw coming. Kelly Clarkson walked onto the set with her signature warmth, her megawatt smile lighting up the room. The audience erupted in applause, their cheers bouncing off the sleek, modern backdrop of the live studio. The set was a familiar sight, a cozy, colorful space with plush armchairs, a coffee table adorned with mugs, and a panoramic view of the Manhattan skyline projected behind. The cameras hummed softly, their lenses trained on Kelly as she waved, her laugh infectious as she settled into the guest chair. Kelly Ripa, the effervescent host, beamed from her seat, her co-host Mark Consuelos nodding along with a grin. The atmosphere was light, almost festive, as Ripa kicked off the segment with her usual charm. "Kelly Clarkson, everybody! The voice, the legend, the woman who makes us all want to sing in the shower." The audience laughed, and Clarkson blushed, brushing a strand of blonde hair behind her ear. "So, Kelly," Ripa began, leaning forward with a playful glint in her eye, "your new album is everywhere. It's raw, it's real, it's you. But let's get to the good stuff. What's it like balancing superstardom, motherhood, and your own talk show? I mean, you're basically a superhero, right?" Clarkson chuckled, her Texas drawl warm and easy. "Oh, I don't know about superhero. I'm just trying not to burn dinner while answering emails and singing lullabies. You know how it is, Kelly, you and Mark are juggling a million things too." The audience cooed, charmed by her relatability. Mark chimed in. "Yeah, but you make it look easy. I mean, an album, a talk show, and you're still out here slaying covers on Kellyoke? Respect." The crowd clapped again, and for a moment, it felt like a love fest. But something in Ripa's posture shifted, a subtle tightening of her smile, a flicker in her eyes. The cameras caught it, though the audience didn't yet notice. Ripa leaned back, crossing her legs, her tone still light but with an edge that hadn't been there before. "Okay, but let's be real, Kelly. Your show's all about real talk, right? You're always so open about your life, divorce, parenting, all of it. But some people say it's a bit calculated. Like, is it really authentic, or are you just playing the relatable card to stay relevant?" The question landed like a pin dropping in a silent room. The audience's laughter faded into an uneasy murmur. Clarkson's smile froze, her eyes narrowing slightly as she processed the words. Mark shifted in his seat, glancing at Ripa as if to say, "Where are you going with this?" The cameras zoomed in, capturing the sudden tension. A producer in the control booth muttered, "Oh boy," as the monitors flickered with close-ups of Clarkson's face. Clarkson tilted her head, her voice steady but laced with a hint of disbelief. "I'm sorry, what now? Calculated? Kelly, I'm just out here living my life, same as you. I talk about what's real to me because that's what connects with people. You know that, you've built a whole career on being real with your audience." Ripa didn't back down. Her smile was sharp now, almost predatory. "Sure, but there's a difference between being real and curating real, right? Like, you're this big advocate for mental health, but some say you lean into that narrative a little too hard. Is it genuine, or is it just good branding? I mean, you've got a talk show, an album, a Vegas residency. Seems like a lot of authentic to sell." The audience gasped, a collective intake of breath that filled the studio. A woman in the front row clutched her phone, already recording. Clarkson's jaw tightened, her hands folding tightly in her lap. The air felt heavy, the hum of the cameras suddenly louder in the silence. Mark tried to jump in, his voice light but strained. Okay, let's not get too serious here. Kelly, tell us about the album, any fun stories from the studio?" But Ripa waved him off, her eyes locked on Clarkson. No, Mark, I think this is interesting. I mean, we're all about honesty here, right? So, Kelly, what's the deal? Are you really this open book, Or is it all just part of the Kelly Clarkson brand? Clarkson's face flushed, her eyes flashing with a mix of hurt and anger. She leaned forward, her voice low but firm, each word deliberate. Kelly, I don't know where this is coming from, but let me be clear, I don't curate my life. I've been through hell and back, divorce, raising kids, dealing with my own headspace, and I talk about it because it's real. If that's branding to you, then I feel sorry for you, because that's a pretty cynical way to look at someone's truth. The audience erupted in applause, a wave of support that seemed to catch Ripa off guard. Her smile faltered, but she doubled down, her tone dripping with sarcasm. Oh, come on, Kelly. You're a pro at this. You know how the game works, give the fans just enough vulnerability to keep them hooked, but not so much that you lose the shine. It's smart, I'll give you that. But don't act like it's all just you being real. The studio was a pressure cooker now. The other crew members, stagehands, camera operators, froze, their eyes darting between Clarkson and Ripa. A producer in the booth hissed into her headset, "Get ready to cut to commercial if this goes south." The audience was split. Some cheered for Clarkson, others whispered to each other, unsure where to stand. Mark tried again, his voice louder this time. "Okay, ladies, let's talk about the music. Kelly, that new single, wow. Tell us about it." But Clarkson wasn't having it. She stood up, her chair scraping against the floor, the sound sharp in the tense silence. "You know what, Kelly? I came here to talk about my album, not to be psychoanalyzed by someone who clearly has an agenda. You want to talk about branding? Look in the mirror. You've been doing this for years, and I've never once questioned your authenticity. So why are you coming for mine?" The crowd roared, a mix of cheers and gasps. Ripa's face tightened, her hands gripping the armrests of her chair. She opened her mouth to respond, but Clarkson wasn't done. Her voice trembled, not with weakness but with raw, unfiltered emotion. "I've spent my whole career being honest about who I am. I talk about therapy because it saved me. I talk about my kids because they're my world. And I make music because it's how I survive. If you think that's a brand, then you don't know me at all." The studio fell silent, the weight of her words hanging in the air. A woman in the audience wiped a tear from her cheek. A camera operator fumbled, nearly dropping his equipment. Mark looked like he wanted to disappear. Ripa, for the first time, seemed at a loss, her usual quick wit failing her. What happened next would send shockwaves through social media, with clips of the exchange going viral within hours. Would Clarkson walk off the set? Would Ripa try to salvage the moment? And what would this mean for both women's reputations? Stay tuned for part 2 of this unforgettable television moment. What do you think? Did Kelly Clarkson handle this right? Was Kelly Ripa out of line? Share your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe for the conclusion of this explosive clash. The Live with Kelly and Mark studio was a frozen tableau, the air thick with tension. Kelly Clarkson stood tall, her hands on her hips, her eyes locked on Kelly Ripa, who sat rigid in her host chair, her knuckles white against the armrests. The audience held its collective breath, some clutching their phones, capturing every second of what was shaping up to be a television moment for the ages. The cameras, unblinking, zoomed in on Clarkson's face, her jaw set, her eyes blazing with a mix of hurt and defiance. What happened next would cement this clash as one of the most unforgettable in talk show history. Ripa, caught off guard by Clarkson's raw, unfiltered response, tried to regain control. Her smile was tight, almost brittle, as she leaned forward, her voice dripping with forced levity. "Okay, Kelly, let's not get dramatic. This is a talk show, not a soap opera. I'm just asking what everyone's thinking. How much of this real persona is for the cameras? You're a smart woman, you know how this industry works." The audience gasped, a low murmur rippling through the crowd. A man in the back row whispered to his neighbor, "She didn't just say that." Mark Consuelos, visibly uncomfortable, tried to interject, his voice strained with a nervous laugh. "All right, let's pivot. Kelly, that new album, Breakaway 2.0, it's incredible. Can you tell us about the inspiration behind it?" But Clarkson wasn't backing down. She took a step forward, her boots clicking sharply against the polished studio floor, the sound cutting through the hum of the cameras. No, Mark, I'm not pivoting. I'm done with this. Kelly, you don't get to sit there and question my integrity like it's some game for ratings. You want to talk about drama? You're the one turning this into a circus. I came here to share my music, my heart, and you're trying to tear it apart for clicks. The crowd erupted in applause, a wave of support that seemed to jolt Ripa. Her eyes flickered to the audience, then back to Clarkson, as if recalculating her next move. In the control booth, a producer hissed into her headset. We're live! Someone get ready to cut to commercial! A camera operator swiveled, catching the stunned faces of the audience, some with hands over their mouths, others nodding in solidarity with Clarkson. Clarkson's voice softened, but it carried a weight that silenced the room. I've spent my life being told I'm not enough, not polished enough, not skinny enough, not Hollywood enough. And I've fought tooth and nail to be myself anyway. I talk about my struggles because I know there are people out there who feel the same way, who need to hear they're not alone. That's not a brand, Kelly. That's called being human. The studio was a pressure cooker, the tension so thick it felt like the walls might crack. Ripa, sensing she was losing the room, tried to pivot, her tone conciliatory but laced with defensiveness. Look, Kelly, I'm not trying to attack you. I'm just saying, in this business, we all play a part. You're a superstar, you know how to work an audience. I respect that. But let's not pretend we're all just spilling our guts for free. That was the final straw. Clarkson's eyes narrowed, and she shook her head, her voice trembling with a mix of anger and conviction. You know what, Kelly? I feel sorry for you. If you think being real is just playing a part, then you've lost something along the way. I'm not here to play games. I'm here to make music, to connect with people, to be a light for someone who's struggling. And if you can't see that, then this conversation is over. With that, Clarkson turned on her heel, her boots echoing in the stunned silence. The audience gasped as she strode toward the edge of the set, her head held high. A stagehand fumbled with a clipboard, unsure whether to intervene. The cameras followed her every move, capturing the sway of her jacket, the determined set of her shoulders. Ripa called after her, her voice sharp with panic. Kelly, come on, don't walk off. This is live TV. But Clarkson didn't stop. She paused at the edge of the stage, turning to face the audience, her eyes glistening but her voice steady. I'm not here to be torn down. I'm here to lift people up. And if that's not what this show is about, then I don't belong here. She looked directly into the nearest camera, her gaze piercing. To everyone watching, don't let anyone tell you your truth isn't enough. You are enough. Always. The audience exploded in applause, some standing, others wiping tears from their eyes. A woman in the front row shouted, We love you, Kelly! As others joined in, their cheers drowning out the chaos. Ripa sat frozen, her face a mask of shock and embarrassment. Mark, desperate to salvage the moment, clapped awkwardly, muttering, Wow, what a moment! Let's, take a quick break. The producer in the booth yelled, Cut to commercial! Now! The screens faded to a detergent ad, but the damage was done. Within minutes, clips of the exchange were uploaded to social media, spreading like wildfire across X, TikTok, and YouTube. Hashtags like hashtag Kelly vs. Kelly and hashtag Clarkson walks off trended worldwide, with fans and critics alike dissecting every moment. Some praised Clarkson's courage, calling her a beacon of authenticity. Others accused her of overreacting, while a few defended Ripa, arguing she was just doing her job as a provocative host. Backstage, Clarkson was met by her team, who ushered her into a green room as producers scrambled to manage the fallout. Ripa, still on set, tried to laugh it off as the show resumed, but her usual sparkle was dimmed. Well, folks, that's live TV for you, she said, her voice strained. Mark nodded, adding, Kelly Clarkson, everybody. Let's give her a hand. The audience's applause was tepid, divided. In the days that followed, the incident dominated headlines. Entertainment outlets ran pieces with titles like, Kelly Clarkson's epic walk-off, hero or diva? And did Kelly Ripa go too far? Social media was a battleground, with fans sharing clips of Clarkson's final speech, overlaying it with captions like, Queen Energy, and Speak Your Truth. Mental health advocates praised Clarkson for standing up against the stigmatization of vulnerability, while industry insiders speculated about the impact on Ripa's reputation as a host known for her sharp tongue. Clarkson addressed the moment on her own show a week later, her voice calm but resolute. I don't regret standing up for myself, she said. But I wish it hadn't gone down like that. I just want to keep it real with y'all. Life's too short for anything else. Ripa, meanwhile, issued a brief statement on X saying, I'm all about real talk, but sometimes it gets too real. Wishing Kelly C. all the best. This clash wasn't just a moment, it was a mirror. It forced viewers to ask, where's the line between tough questions and personal attacks? Was Clarkson right to walk off, or should she have stayed to fight it out? Was Ripa just playing the provocateur, or did she cross a line that can't be uncrossed? And what does it mean to be authentic in a world that demands both vulnerability and perfection? What do you think? Who was in the right, Kelly Clarkson or Kelly Ripa? Should Clarkson have stayed, or was her walk-off the ultimate power move? Share your thoughts in the comments, and let's keep this conversation going. Subscribe for more stories that spark debate and inspire us to think deeper about truth, courage, and what it means to be human.